Hey, welcome. So, when you think of ancient Egypt, I'm guessing the first things that pop into your head are those giant pyramids and the mysterious Sphinx, right? Well, what if I told you that's just a tiny piece of the puzzle? Today, we're going to explore the full, rich heritage of Egypt, from its life giving river all the way to the games its people played thousands of years ago. Let's really dig in and uncover the whole story. To really get this, we have to start with a pretty big question. What actually is heritage? It's a word we hear all the time, but what does it really mean for a country, for its identity? Well, at its core, heritage is basically the sum of everything a nation's people have done. It's the story they've built over centuries, woven together from their history and their unique traditions. It's not just about the past, it's the very foundation of who they are. And that story, it really has two sides to it. On one hand, you've got the tangible heritage, the physical stuff you can actually see and touch, like art, buildings, and all those amazing artifacts. But on the other hand, there's the intangible, the living, breathing culture, like food, music, and dance that gets passed down from one generation to the next. Okay, so to understand Egypt's heritage, you absolutely have to start at its source, its very lifeline, the Nile River. This wasn't just some river. It was the engine that powered an entire civilization. And this is the key. Agriculture is a massive piece of Egyptian heritage, and it simply would not have existed without the Nile. The river's predictable floods made it possible to grow food, right in the middle of a desert. It's incredible. Ancient Egyptian life literally moved to the rhythm of this river. First, you had the flooding season, from about June to September, when the fields would go underwater. Then came the growing season, October to February, when that rich, fertile soil was perfect for planting. And finally, the harvesting season, from March to May, which brought the reward. This cycle, it governed absolutely everything. And what's so cool is how this natural rhythm directly sparked innovation. To predict the floods and plan their harvests, the Egyptians had to become masters of timekeeping. So they created some of the world's very first calendars, all from just watching the river. It's a perfect example of nature driving science. All right, now that we get the foundation, let's jump into that incredible tangible heritage, those amazing monuments that have been standing for thousands and thousands of years. And of course, we have to start with the most famous site on the planet, Giza. For millennia, this place has been the face of ancient Egypt, home to the world-famous pyramids and, of course, the Sphinx. What you're seeing here is the ultimate blend of engineering and belief. Beyond the just mind-boggling scale of the Great Pyramids, you have the Sphinx. Archaeologists are pretty sure it wasn't just a work of art, but a colossal guardian, carved from one single piece of limestone to watch over the pharaoh's tombs forever. But Giza wasn't even the beginning. For that, we've got to travel to our next stop, Saqqara. This place is one of the biggest and oldest archaeological sites in all of Egypt, a huge, sprawling city of the dead filled with ancient tombs. This whole area is just vast, but its absolute crown jewel is the Step Pyramid of Djoser. Built way back around 2630 BCE, this is basically the world's first skyscraper, and it's the architectural blueprint for all those smooth-sided pyramids that everyone knows today. This is the original. Now, if we follow the lifeblood of the Nile's south, we get to Luxor. This city lives and breathes its ancient history. It's really no surprise that it's still a major hub for Nile cruises today, connecting modern travelers directly to the past. So, on one side of the river, you have the gigantic Karnak Temple complex, and on the other, you've got the famous Valley of the Kings. This desolate valley became a royal cemetery where pharaohs like Tutankhamun were buried in secret tombs filled with treasures that were meant to last for an eternity. For our last big stop, we're going to leave the desert sands behind and head up to the Mediterranean coast. This is where we find a city with a very different, but just as rich story, Alexandria. Alexandria was once the capital of Egypt and a global center for knowledge. It was home to the first great library of the ancient world. Today, you can still see all these layers of its history, from the Roman theater to the impressive Qaitbay Citadel. But, heritage isn't just about massive temples and royal tombs. What about the ordinary people? Let's zoom in a little, from the monumental to the personal. Everyday life was shaped by really practical objects. People made pottery out of clay to store their food and water. They were sandals woven from linen. And they carved statues from stone, not just for kings, but for their own religious beliefs right at home. These simple things tell us so much. And here's a wonderful little detail that just makes the past feel so close. Archaeologists found these beautiful paintings of Queen Nefertari sitting on a golden chair playing a board game called Senet. It's such a powerful reminder that these weren't just historical figures, they were people who relaxed and had fun, just like we do. And this is exactly why these artifacts, the games, the clothes, the pots, are just as important to our understanding as the pyramids are. They complete the picture. They give us a glimpse into the world of ordinary Egyptians and remind us that a civilization is built by everyone, not just its rulers. So, this brings us to our final section. Because heritage isn't some dead thing locked away in the past. No way. It's a living, breathing story that is still going on today. Think about this connection for a second. The ancient Egyptians had these big festivals tied to the Nile's farming seasons. Well, today, Egyptians celebrate Sham el-Nassim, a festival that marks the arrival of spring. Families go out for picnics, they decorate eggs. It's a tradition that echoes those ancient celebrations of life and rebirth. And this really captures the main idea perfectly. Heritage isn't just a collection of old things in a museum. It's an unbroken thread, a living story that connects people today directly to their ancestors, shaping their culture and their identity in the here and now. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If heritage is the story that we leave behind, what parts of our culture today, our art, our music, our ideas, are going to become the heritage of tomorrow?